Would you believe that I just started recording and we did not, that entire 20-minute long conversation about video games is just lost?
It might be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say
Well,
some of the gaming intercepts, but
yeah. Dude,
you know,
unpaid gaming show coming out? What? Like,
with the twist on it, we're down. We have
unpaid
a
gaming?
whole crossover.
Yeah. Maybe when we sell out and we can get like big names for it, be like,
Every once in a while, we'll get like every 50 episodes. Just do a stream on Twitch.
yeah.
Bring on like a sports player or something. Be like, hey,
Yeah.
come play Call of Duty with us.
I would love that. How are you, my friends?
I'm doing well. Well, as it was cut off, but I have a new PC. I feel like a true gamer now.
Unpaid
I'm,
nobodies
I'm,
coming up in the world.
I'm
No more
slowly but
laptops
surely.
and cell phones in this show.
Speaking of, you're gonna get the iPhone 14. You're thinking?
I'm thinking I'm gonna get the 14 Pro. Yeah, not like I don't want to be like one of those people who stand out in line. Fuck that. And like I think I need to pay like I pay off my phone in like 2 months.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna finish paying it off and then I'll trade it in, get like half credit. Like
Smart man.
yeah, and
I'm considering getting the 13 Pro Max
why would
instead of
you?
getting the
So
newest one.
my question is like, why get the older Pro?
So my justification for this, and it's not that deep. It's not going to be like a walk or anything.
No, because like I would certainly argue that like if you have the 13 Max, there is no way in hell you should buy a new iPhone.
No,
Like,
yeah, that doesn't make anyone,
no,
and
anyone who
I'll
buys
probably
year
get some
year over
flack for
year,
this, but yeah,
awful.
doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter what kind of phone it is. Any
Honestly,
kind of
two
phone, year
years is
from
like
year, that's ideal,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I feel like even
Um,
2 years is like you got to be someone who like does who enjoys the upgrade.
exactly. Like you just love
You
technology, which
know,
is people we fall under.
yeah, and then like 3 years is like I think where most people actually do it. And
Which
after
makes
four,
sense.
yeah, and after 4 years, it's like, come on. And then 5 years or more, you're old.
Yeah, it's like get
Or
it together.
four, and I respect the second one.
We don't respect the old, okay.
Fuck old people.
But no, I did this last time. I used to be an Android guy, you know this. And then I made the switch over to iPhone. I made the switch when the 12 came out, but I got the 11 because my dad has a crazy discount. And I plan on doing that again. I just looked it up. The 13 Pro Max 256 gig I can get for 650 and it retails for 11. So it's kind of hard to justify spending what's probably going to be like 1300 for the 14 and
Well,
compared to like 700 for the 13, I can't really justify doubling it for
well,
one model.
I would. Well, the thing is, first off, I just am not going to get one of the Max models.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I had the 10s Max, the tennis match, and it it hurt my hands like really bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think
So
about that. I think my 11 is just like the standard.
yeah.
So,
So I'm gonna get the 14 Pro, which is only like $200 more than what you said. Well, I might get the one with more storage because I take a lot of pictures.
so I missed the announcement, the Apple announcement or whatever. Did they announce the official prices? Because there was rumors of the larger one, like the Pro, and then the Max is going to be $100 even more
No,
than
it's
the
the same.
different.
Everything that came out was the same price. So like the 14 Pro is the same price as the 13 Pro last year
Okay,
at 999, and then the it sounds like a fucking Apple commercial. I hate it. Uh,
we're better than that. We don't
yeah,
have to.
but
We do not have to process down to app commercial.
yeah, but yeah, it's no. There was no price hikes. That was the thing everyone I saw was talking about. Because
Right.
like low key, I don't think any of these are particularly exciting. I just my phone's 2 years old. I use it a lot. After 2 years,
It's
like the wear and tear on the screen and the battery are noteworthy. So I upgrade my phone every 2 years. It's not really a thing.
I was going to say noteworthy is a perfect way to express
Yeah, like I don't think I do think like the new thing they're doing with the notch is pretty cool. But like that's it. Like
I was going to say when I sold phones at the Blue Store, every single customer was like, "What's the difference?" I'm like, "There's three things: It's camera, it's battery, it's processor. There is nothing else you need to understand.
Yeah. Nowadays,
So,
there's also the screen, but beyond that, yeah,
right. But I think
yeah,
the big shift was when the X came out, when they went from like this standard to like the 4K. But besides that, it's like, okay,
yeah,
you're gonna get a nice screen nowadays.
yeah. Either way, yeah. It kind of like phones are like so interesting because they're so not anymore. They're all just the same.
Yeah. Like even between brands and like
Yeah.
I'm not finna start some freaking annoying Samsung versus Apple war because I don't care.
No,
But
I don't care which corporate entity like services my telecommunications. Although I
right,
do like, I do prefer the one that doesn't give my information to cops. So
you know, that is
that's
nice.
that's Apple. Fuck the police.
It is a nice touch to that.
What if that was their
But
just campaign for a while?
you see it in the advertisement, Jesus.
Just says fuck
Uh,
12.
you know what? They might get more people than they expect. But besides that, all the phones are the same. Doesn't even matter the brand now. All the specs are the same. The designs are relatively the same.
Yeah,
Battery life, it's fine.
yeah, they're all the same. It's like, like even Android and Apple are getting more and more similar.
I was going to say more similar. The only
Apple, you can
difference,
customize way more than you could like 4 years ago when we were working
there
on
you
that
go.
shit. And
Yep.
Android is a lot more locked down than it was 4 years ago.
They're literally just coming closer to each other.
Yeah, so
But it was the exact opposite.
let's
But
talk about
anyway,
hip hop.
yeah, enough that.
uh,
It's a good timing. It's weird timing
yeah,
that we picked this topic. We picked one out of the archives.
yeah, we picked one out of the
Um,
archives because we got a whole lot of cool shows coming up.
yes. Very exciting. We'll get to
Very,
that.
very exciting, very cool shows.
I'm gonna date this podcast just in case we come back in 5 years. The Queen just died. So that happened. And we're
You
good.
said it like a Marvel character. Like,
That happened. In reality, everyone's no, I'm
yeah.
not gonna say that. Black Twitter blowing up, Irish Twitter
Dude,
blowing up,
I don't
Indian
think
Twitter, we love
I don't think
it.
any like the Irish boys are taking so many W's.
Yes, it's insane.
I saw the
And I'm
one
happy
thing
for them.
where there's right now, like it was like it's not like right now, it was a few hours ago. I saw this thing where it was like it was lightly raining over the palace today in England and
Hmm.
it looked like a rainbow. It was like a rainbow and it's like and rainbows are like a symbol of
It's a
Ireland.
symbol. Yeah,
Yeah. And
I love it.
and it's like, boy, this is Irish boy equivalent to like an
Oh,
NBA championship. I was gonna say like Barack Obama, but I don't know. Like,
nah, not quite. I
yeah,
don't know if it's happening, but it's very interesting. The memes were amazing. I'll say rest in peace out of respect, but no one likes the British.
I don't like the. I'm American. People have died, so I don't have to care about this family.
This is very true.
It is
Uh,
disrespect. I don't like to say like for the troops, but it is disrespectful to the troops for me to care about the queen.
Look, back then we weren't calling them troops; they were something else, just the Patriots, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but
Um,
anyway, that ties in kind of into our topic. We're going to be talking about estates and posting his
That's
albums.
fucked
And
up. You
people
just used the death of
dying.
a monarch to justify like why we're gonna be talking about Juice World. Like,
We love it. We love it. But yeah,
Juice
that's what
World
we're going to be
matters
talking
so
about
much
today.
more. Like,
Oh, let's be honest. He had such a bigger impact to the world. Come
well,
on.
I don't know about that. Like, I don't know about bigger. Better. I don't know about bigger, man. Like, have you heard of India? Like, your boy.
But
Why do you think he's
no,
in
yeah.
Canada?
Honestly, if I can go to Canada, I'll
I
highly
would. No,
consider.
no, I would totally would. I would totally move to Toronto because it is Chicago without Chicago's biggest problem, which is being in the United States of America.
I was gonna say it's being the murder capital. But
No, I would.
anyway,
I would not even say that. I would say, uh, just the fact that it's in the U.S. Like,
that's the only thing you would say.
yeah, that's the
All
only
right, well,
problem with Chicago. Well, like first off, like when you control for like population, Chicago's not even in the top 50 most dangerous cities in the country.
I know. but we like saying it.
I don't know, man. I was thinking after watching that. Do you watch Channel 5?
Brandon, I don't watch the news.
It's not the news. It's internet stuff.
Oh, well, no.
It's the guy. He just recently interviewed Fantano,
Okay, what's
and
up
like
though?
part of the Fantano interviews in this video, he did a video about O Block,
Oh,
and just
okay.
like I just think like even though we're from here and it's all in good fun, it's like maybe let's not spread those myths about the South and West Side. I know sometimes
As
it
you
felt
can
like
say.
we. I know like sometimes it felt like we grew up in a war zone or like next to it, but like we
I was
didn't.
gonna say next to it. I'm gonna put some emphasis
I
on
know
next to
I know like
it.
sometimes it felt like we were living in Baghdad, but it's not. Like
But we weren't.
yeah, like we were
At the
like,
end of the day, we were not.
yeah,
No, I get that.
yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and break it down so we
Yeah,
can
let's talk
start
about
talking
all these
about.
albums. There's a lot coming
Uh,
out this week.
it is a heavy week for news.
All right.
There's a couple I do want to highlight, of course. So I'll start off with Ari Lennox coming
Yeah,
out
she
with
announced
Age,
this
Sex, Location.
literally. I think she announced it like while we were doing our recommendations.
Yeah. It was a very surprise. She already dropped a mini EP last week that
Yeah.
had about 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of them.
Um,
They're really good.
they are okay, cool. I will definitely go into it. I kind of want to listen all at once because I feel like they were meant to be on the album, but I can't tell.
Definitely. Yeah.
But by all means, very excited. Love some Dreamville. Very nice play on the like ASL thing. But it's like some stuff you used to do like when you're kids.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm excited. The next one, Brandon, do you want to announce it?
No, shut up. You do it.
Nav is finally dropping his album. Finally, been delayed,
Yeah.
but angels
After
protected by
after
demons.
after threatening it for the whole year,
It's
I
not
just want to know
threatening it.
like maybe 2016 is the better year. I'm just saying. Like
Look, if he drops and it's a good album, you owe me an apology. That's all I'm saying.
no, that's a
And
huge
if it's
fucking if.
and if it's not good, I will publicly say next week on the podcast that Belly may have an upper hand.
I, I don't think there's any argument creatively. We had 3 hours of content. We have an
Yes.
Avengers Endgame worth of content about uh our feelings
Good
on this
content.
matter.
Good content. It was
You can
definitely one of
refer
the
to the
better.
records.
Do you want to announce the
Yeah,
next
sure,
one?
sure, sure. Yeah. So not exactly new, but definitely nice to have. Big Sean is
Yes.
putting the Detroit mixtape on streaming. Finally.
Yes, it is
You're
finally on streaming.
I this is something that missed me back in the day.
Oh yeah? You never kind of get to it?
No, never kind of got to it. Planning to do so this weekend.
Okay, but I will say I don't know if I've listened to the full mixtape, but I've always kind of been excited, or not excited, but I've always been interested in learning some of his earlier career stuff. Just 'cause, like I don't even know where he came from. For me, I feel like he popped out of nowhere, but it'll be interesting to see kind of his roots and if
Yeah.
like how he's grown since then. Because when we saw him at Lala, that man deserves to be a headliner. I don't understand how he's
Oh
not a
yeah.
headliner
Oh no. Live
every single
performance
song.
wise blows it away. I actually think like low key Big Sean is like a really great example of like when an artist ability to create quality music and an artist ability to do a compelling live show are just not necessarily equal.
Mhm.
Because like I mean I like Detroit too. The one that came out like a few years ago that everyone loved.
Yeah,
Yeah. But like I've never been a huge
yeah.
fan, but man, that show.
I guess you go on.
Absolutely stellar. Top notch. Not a question.
Whew. Okay, so we have him. Eminem is out of Detroit. Is that correct? No,
Eminem?
no, he's not. No, he's not. Where is Eminem from?
Eminem's from Detroit.
Okay, okay. I'm not tweaking it. Who else is from Detroit?
Uh is 50 Cent? I think 50 Cent's from Detroit.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, Danny Brown.
Good. That is a good one. I'm just curious because, like, I was gonna say like maybe he's top 5 Detroit rappers, but then I thought about it. Who's even from Detroit? Is that even like a big label to put
I'm
on
looking it
somebody?
up right now.
Royce
Yeah,
the
Big
Five
Sean.
Nine, Bodie James.
Yeah. Oh, Jay Dilla, but he's a producer.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put him top 5. Sure,
Yeah. I
give him the
mean,
title.
I'd say third. Like,
Yeah, honestly, yes. Okay,
yeah.
I'll go with that.
And like low key, if one of them keeps performing the way, it might be second. Like,
Right. Um, well, actually, we might as well kind of discuss that now because I did see one of the people that was from Detroit. When I looked up the list here, was Bodie James and Royce the 5'9", which is two names that might be coming up soon. The Black Soprano family. I don't know the name of the album, but it was announced that they were releasing an album as a collective. This is like the dirty rap we've been talking about.
this
We've kind of
is
been teasing about it for a while.
yeah. No, this is what is this?
I don't know the title of the album, but this is gonna have Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, Bodie James, like I just mentioned, maybe Royce the 5'9", maybe some other people in that dirty rap
Yeah.
kind of area, maybe some Freddie Gibbs. You never know.
Oh
I'm
my
super
god.
excited.
Speaking of which, Freddie, he's dropping next month.
Yeah, so we have a lot coming up. It's been a good year, man.
It's gonna be an incredible year. Gotta say, I'm extremely looking forward to this. I
Oh, no
yeah.
doubt.
First off, that name, killer.
Which one? The
Black Soprano family.
Black Soprano? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do like
Yeah.
that. I was
Uh
trying to prep for this. I went to the gym right before this, and I was listening
oh yeah, they're
to
dropping an album.
what is it?
I see it on.
Oh,
It's called Long Live DJ Shay,
there we go. That's the name. Thank you.
and it's coming out this year. There's a few songs you can listen to now, but that's all I got from title.
Okay, and that's referring to the Black Soprano family, right? Like that's the name, or is that referring to
I
something
have no
else?
idea.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm excited for this. If it does come out tomorrow,
that's
I
gonna
will
be my
most
top.
definitely be listening to it
Yeah,
because
that
I
is
listened to
the shit I will
Tana
be
Talk.
listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say I finally got to Tana Talk 4 that came out
Really
this
good,
year.
right?
Jesus, bro. I didn't know. This
I
is this is really good.
I think I'm gonna do God Forgives, uh, Conway the Machine's album tonight.
Ooh, okay. I
Yeah,
might get to it. Honestly, I was very, very surprised. It kind of like I was thinking about it on my way home from the gym, and like I feel like in terms of like I know we titled it as dirty rap, but I just feel like a large influence on this is like drugs and gang
yeah. No,
and selling
it's
in.
invoking the crime family imagery.
Yes, and like we don't really get that. I feel like you have commercialized stuff where it's like more of a acceptable to the public, whether that be Pusha T, Jay Z, Schoolboy Q, where like you can still listen to it and like not feel like you're in the drug family. But
Yeah,
this is that like grimy, like, oh wait, no, I actually
yeah.
feel
No,
like this
I
is
would,
real.
yeah. I would say if we're trying to categorize this subgenre of hip hop, which I think is probably good because it's creatively, I think like it's the best right now,
Mhm.
and there are certainly enough people in it to classify it like as a movement, at least if not a genre. And I would call it like I like dirty rap. I think that's fun. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think like
I'll flow
maybe
with
hardcore hip hop. Like if we're gonna do it like an Unpaid Nobody's original, an Uno, if you will. Uh,
that.
well, we'll call it dirty rap. Like,
Can we just do drug rap? No, I'm just playing. Dirty rap, it works.
no, that's Juice World. Like,
We'll get to them eventually. But anywho, we have some other things coming out. We
yeah,
have Yeet coming out with the album Life. I believe that is the name. He speaks
Is Yeet
in
real? I don't think he's real.
Brandon. I need you. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. I need you to listen to Yeet. Just you don't even have to listen to an album. Go on title, go to his page and just press play. I promise you. And don't overthink it. It's just really turned
Every
up,
time I
amazing
hear
beat.
like don't
And like,
overthink it. It's like try not to engage with
no,
your
because
emotions honestly. Like
because like if you go into it like, oh, this is gonna be like super meaningful and like insightful, like no, this is not the type of music. This is
yeah,
turned
no,
up
I'm
music.
not expecting to get
Okay.
fucking Tana Talk 4 off of Two
Yeah.
Alive.
It's the thing is like when I think of Yeet, there's just so many other artists that I like him that I know you don't listen to, and it like I don't know how to even sell this to you.
Is it like what are the other artists? Because like
Other people that like the fan bases cross over, I think of like a Playboy Cardi, and I know
yeah,
you don't really listen to him.
that's my impression. He seems like a weird Cardi or a weirder Cardi.
Okay, so that's the thing. I feel like it's just not a subgenre that's meant for you, but I like it. It's
I
turned
mean,
up. It's
like
amazing. It's just
I don't
background
hate
music.
Playboy Cardi.
That's fair, but like you're not
You
really
know,
a fan.
no, I would not call myself a fan either. That's fair,
Exactly.
but like I just
Gonna say
definitely
I'm not even gonna put those words in your mouth.
no, I'm definitely not a fan of Playboy Cardi. But yeah, I don't hate Playboy Cardi. It's just like not for me. It's like, oh, this would have been cool when I was like 18 and irrationally angry.
That is a good way to put it because the beats, man, they make you want to punch somebody.
That's fine. I don't ever want to punch anybody. My hand would hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit you.
That's the
So,
other thing.
oh,
That's the thing they never tell you about punching someone in the face is that
it might hurt a little bit.
it hurt. Punching someone in the face hurts almost as much as getting punched in the face.
I don't know if I'll go that far.
I I've done both plenty of times. Like it is. I mean, like, do you remember our buddy Daniel taking that punch in the face?
Yep, I do. I do remember that.
Right. First off, this guy was a trooper about it, which is insane because he's a piss poor
Man,
attitude. Like,
man, that is a throwback memory.
yeah,
And that
but
was like a flash reaction when
yeah,
that happened. Jesus.
yeah. All right. So John Legend is also releasing music.
You can't transition like that. Anyway, yeah, it's not a mixtape though; it's an album. John Legend is dropping the album Legend. Um, it kind of fits into our podcast, I feel like, but I mean, you got to do your respects to John Legend, so I threw it in there. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I never really got too into John Legend.
Really,
He's good. Like I know, like he's on a bunch of stuff I like.
I'm, I'm curious now. Have you ever just like sat down and listened to a John Legend album?
I've listened to John Legend songs, but no, not a full album.
I mean, obviously, like "Ordinary People" is a classic. So, like, I'm assuming you've heard that.
Yeah, the song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, it's like I'm sure you've heard the bigger songs at
yeah.
least, which is
I've definitely heard
what
plenty of
matters the
John
most.
Legend songs. I don't think I can name an album of his off the top of my head.
That's fair. I can't either. So if
Yeah,
you put it like that, I
yeah.
understand.
Like, yeah, he has multiple Christmas albums.
Hey, it's coming up. Might have to play a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with some Christmas music.
Now, this next one, I believe you're a fan, Sampa the Great.
I am. This song kind of coming up more recently out of I want to say Zimbabwe, if I did my research correctly. And I think it's very interesting, kind of getting a different culture of music. So I want to throw it in here. Called "Sound for the Great." The album is going to called "As Above, So Below." She's coming up in the industry. I always wanted to support some upcoming artists, especially if they're from like a smaller section of the world, just so they can have a voice. So I threw that in there. Highly recommend checking them out. Listen to a song or two. If you like it, perfect. If not, there you go. You can move on. But
Sampa is a woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't know who it was.
I it looks familiar. I could have sworn that there's a song I know them from.
There most likely is a song that you've heard from them. Yes. I believe they're more of a songwriter, but you've definitely heard one of their
And I'm trying to figure out what song it is because I've heard them before.
Let me pull it up. What's her most favorite or popular song? She might be featured on this song. On Spotify, at least, Energy has 17 million, but that was out in 2018. So I don't know. You might have heard of
No,
them.
I'm in. I'm in. She has a song with Denzel Curry.
Oh, there you go. That's enough of a reason for you.
Yeah.
Were you thinking of Sampha, the
I
guy?
I might have been thinking of Sampha.
Okay, completely understandable. Like it's one letter off, so I get that.
Yeah.
Also, another great artist. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, definitely shout out to her. Would recommend. We also got a ton of singles and different music videos, a variety of things that I found while scouring the internet. The first one, we are still on the JID wave. So excited,
Jidwave
happy
is
for
not
him.
slowing down.
Dude, I love it. Definitely becoming one of my angel boys very quickly, or golden
He
boys, I should say.
is he's really good. Like he is certainly in the tippity top tier creatively of artists his age.
Yes, no question.
Yeah,
He
this album is real good.
No, yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be one of the highlights for the year, at least for me. He is now on the Tiny Desk. Came out as of today. Super exciting. I saw some of the songs on there. I think he did Never. He did two or three songs from the new album. Um, I'm excited for him. It's interesting seeing live performance of his music because it's so heavily edited. I feel like sometimes in the album. And I think rap is one of those genres that's so different between the live performance and the actual like radio version.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see him like perform in a sense where it's not like just through a computer kind of.
Yeah. No, definitely. Although I do gotta say, like, I think I agree with you a lot that like especially in modern like hip hop, there's like a huge delta between like what is recorded and what's like performed.
Yeah,
But there is a
it's
performance aspect of like recording, right?
mhm,
And like, look, I think of someone, I don't know, like maybe 21 Savage, like before I saw him the second time and he blew me away, right? I thought he like would show up to perform on the song and then just like not do the best live performance.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me though, Jid just performance wise, he just brought so much energy. I think performance wise, like probably my top tier of the year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. I fully agree with that, honestly. And we had like a whole episode about how it's so much different how we consume music because I feel like, and it might be biased because I like rap so much, but I feel like rap is one of those like genres that's just it's so worldly different. You can hear a song almost four different ways depending on how you're consuming it.
Yeah.
So, highly recommend checking that out if you did like the album. Another virtual concert that we got in the last week was Chance the Rapper. He was performing at Hip Hop Nation for Sirius XM. Um, love some Chance the Rapper. We all know this. So
Yeah.
hopefully the album. I'm gonna be honest, Brandon. I don't know if we're gonna get it this year. I really don't.
It seems weird. It seems weird that it hasn't come out. I'll say that.
Or
Like
something
cuz like from April to like early June, we were getting like chance releases every 2 weeks or so.
consistently. Oh yeah, I was gonna say consistently.
Yeah. And then we got
And
highs
like
and then we got highs and lows, which amazing song, one of my favorite songs of the year. But nothing since then. It almost felt like it was building up to that song.
mhm.
I'm like,
Which
no,
I feel like if that's the end goal, that's not enough for me. I'm sorry.
no, I need. Yeah,
It's
I
not
was
enough.
like, especially because like the other songs you're releasing were also good, "Child of God" and
Oh yeah.
um, "Wraith." I still listen to "Wraith" almost daily. Like,
I mean, I don't blame you. They're great songs. And
yeah,
like it's because and it's going into it, my mindset, it wasn't just songs. Like some people are just dropping songs just to drop songs. They might do a little bit of a teaser on it and hype up to it, but like, no, this is like
they felt
project
like
level,
teasers. Yeah,
right?
well,
Like
because
there's
like
a whole concept behind it. He's got these pictures and frames. all the songs seem to be connected to each other behind this theme,
And like
and then nothing.
we only got like two songs that really felt like complete songs. Like
Right.
Wraith and Bar About a
Bar about a
Bar.
bar.
As fun as they are, like I think they're absolutely fun songs worth being put out.
They're not album songs.
They're they are in and of themselves teasers. They're not full songs.
Right.
So it is interesting. And it
It's
is
the other thing. He's been promoting this because I think he went to Ghana, I want to say. Don't
yeah.
quote me on it. But he went to an African country and he's been spending a lot of time there. And he's talking about doing a live concert there in January. And I'm like, how are you promoting this concert so heavily for next year and you're not promoting anything else before then? Or like just in general. So now I'm just starting to think like we're not even gonna get it this year, and I'm very disappointed if we don't get it this year.
Um, I think that could be a pump fake. I also think it's totally rational to just like, especially like a benefit concert or like something that, even though this is probably not going to be a benefit concert per se, but something like in that realm,
Hmm.
I would say like,
Oh, I'm not against the concert in any sense, but like I need the album. Like
yeah, no, I get you. It's not. It definitely feels like very wasted opportunity. But
'cause
I've
you're at a high.
I have
You're at a
a
high.
well, he's not at a high. He's ramping up, and like
Right.
this is his last shot. If we're being real, like
Yes, because we had to wait. How many years? We had to wait 3 years from Coloring Book to get a crap album, and it's been 3 years since then. So to me, I've been waiting 6 years for an album.
yeah, really.
It's been too long.
And although I have a question for you, right?
Right?
Let's say like it is like early next year we get a Chance album, and let's say it lives up to like the quality teased in these songs that we got, right?
Right?
Not necessarily like a classic album, but of that quality.
Yeah, good album.
Yeah, I would argue enough to redeem him if we get an album length of that's that good.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've been talking about the redemption arc for like months now. If
Yeah,
it comes out freaking in 2 years, you know I'm still gonna be a fan of him.
yeah, yeah.
But like,
My question
it's
is,
frustrating having to wait.
yeah, my question is this wait going to affect your view on that album or your view on Chance's career? Because I think at a certain point it would become rational to be like, yeah, it's good, but maybe it's still even too little, too late. Like,
Um,
especially like if it's years before you get an album, which I think is unlikely.
right. I do see what you mean. I understand the question now. It's tough to say because I think the first thing I'm thinking about is how long do I have to wait? Because, like you said, if we're talking about 2 3 years, he's gonna be completely irrelevant by then. Um, he's gonna have to have an entirely different fan base.
Yeah,
That he's gonna have to rebuild. So at least in that sense, if I have to wait that long, then yes, I'm going to be very disappointed. It almost doesn't matter how good it's gonna be. But then it's kind of like that moment where like this might be a little bit of a walk, but
like you know,
sometimes when you like when you're growing up and you're young and you're asking for this specific toy for so long and like you've been asking your parents for months to get it and you finally get it and now you almost don't know what to do with it. And like I don't want to overhype or over like glorify getting the album and then I get it and then it's kind of like a now what kind of effect because if we have to wait so long to get it, it really is going to take away from the effect, no matter how
I
good
think
it is. And I
eventually
feel like
it absolutely is going to be like a point where it's we have to get it or it's
right,
going to be
or it's nothing
yeah.
because even with the greats like Frank Ocean takes forever.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar took 5 years,
We got a
and
new
it's
King
like
of England before we got Nicole.
Exactly, and so it's kind of like hindsight 2020. Like I'm gonna hate it up to the point, and then it comes out, and it's like, oh my god, I love this. So I don't know. I have to wait for it to actually come out to like tell if it's gonna be worth it
Yeah.
or
All right.
worth the wait.
Shall we move on?
Yeah. we kind of talked about it last week, but I don't see it on streaming platforms yet. So I wanted to update that it is on YouTube. Smino did drop 24/8 on YouTube, a very smooth track we love from Smino, one of the best vocalists and lyricists, I feel like, in terms of his flow. We also get an ASAP Rocky featuring Playboy Cardi snippet on Instagram. Playboy Cardi fans are absolutely insane. Like they're insane. It's a like
Yeah.
2 minute snippet, and I think I've seen 100 TikToks of this little like part of the song. It's one verse, and people are eating it alive.
Yeah. Yeah, Playboy
But
Cardi fans
love
are
it.
not human. Like, and I
I
don't
am one of
mean
them.
like in the sense that like subhuman or second class. No, I think they're like vampires.
I mean, it would fit the aesthetic of his last album. So,
Yeah, I think I'm giving him
um,
too much credit now that I think about it.
I don't understand why you don't like Cardi.
No, I don't dislike Cardi at all.
I know, but I like him a lot. So you know, I'm over exaggerating.
All right,
But
now I got a question
last,
for you about this last one.
okay,
So, Bryson Tiller he drops a new song outside.
yes.
Okay, so here's the thing about Bryson Tiller. I'm gonna ask you a question, and
Okay.
the answer to the question cannot be Isaac. I know you're listening right now. Hi, Isaac. Who cares? Like,
I was okay. Now it's funny that you said that because
I'm not super anti Bryson Tiller either, but like I've definitely made the effort because people were like, "Oh, you would like Bryson Tiller," and I'm just like, "It's okay." Like,
here's the thing, and I know Isaac is gonna kill me for this because he's already said if there's ever been an artist that like is a little bit older and you guys don't understand, just call me. But from my understanding, Bryson Tiller was a little bit before my time. But Bryson Tiller was essentially a Brett Fayez before Brett Fayez. Essentially the same things like a party next door,
yeah, someone who
where
was
it's
like
kind of
trying to thread that needle a little bit more on the rap side.
yes. He's got a toxic persona, from what I understand.
Sick.
And he
Yeah.
is more more on the R&B based.
Yeah.
I do like some of his songs. Obviously, Don't is like infamous at this point. I
Yeah.
don't
I
know
mean, he
anyone who
doesn't have
doesn't
like
know
no
that.
bad tracks. Like he has like
Oh, of
some
course,
good
yeah.
songs. Yeah.
Right My Wrongs, Exchange, Don't all come from the same great album 2015. He did come out with an album 2020 as a follow up. Um, I'm not even going to hold you to it. I'm not the biggest fan. I respect him. I will listen to his music when it comes out, but he's not my Brett Fayez, and he's not my whatever other toxic artist you want to throw in there like the weekend, or he's not
Yeah.
even on the same plane or the same field.
Yeah. He's not even playing the
At
same
least for
fucking
me.
sport.
At least for me. And I know a lot of old heads are going to kill me for that, but I'm just going to say what I feel. It's my podcast.
That's you're
So
goddamn right.
yeah. So yeah, that's my take on it. I'm going to listen to whatever he comes out with, but like I will put him as a tier of like Black maybe. I will put him on a tier as
When you
maybe
say
Tory
black,
Lanez.
do you mean Six Flag?
People say both things. I don't know, bro. But yes, Six Flag,
Yeah.
Black.
I
Put
like
him on
Six
that tier
Flag.
of him. Yeah, yeah. I would put him on that tier or Tory Lanez, another person who I don't really mess with like that. But obviously, these infamous toxic R&B person before toxic was a trend.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, that is all of the news and albums. We can go ahead and get into the actual news.
Yeah.
Some of the more recent things that I wanted to bring up. Brandon, did you know Cruel Summer came out 10 years ago?
Man, I remember. Don't make me feel so fucking old, dude.
Bro, a decade. Click came out a decade ago.
Man,
We are
don't.
on the 14th, 10 years old.
Oh my god. Do you remember when he was
What,
releasing the songs every week?
bro, where were you 10 years ago?
Working at a hat store. Like,
I'm trying to think 10 years ago, bro. I
Yeah, I
was
was.
going into high school.
No, I was already 20.
Man, I I feel old.
Yeah, I was 20. Yeah, that's where I was.
I would be in a soccer bus going to a soccer game with 20 white kids and 3 black kids, and we would be screaming Cruel Summer as though it worked.
Yeah. No, that shit was on all summer. And the summer after too. I remember 2013, like I remember that not being having a whole lot of like great summer songs. And man, Cruel Summer just especially that Don't Like remix, man. One of the best remixes of all time.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
man,
man.
makes me feel so old.
Mercy, Click, the remix, Higher, the one. Creepers, the song by Kid Cudi that was just Kid Cudi. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're moving
Yeah,
on.
please.
um, Another thing that's kind of to look forward to. Little Baby has announced that he plans on dropping his album next month, October 14th, called It's Only Me. I wanted to throw this in here. So we had a discussion recently where we have these artists that are borderline headliners. We have Denzel Curry, we have Jid. Has Little Baby passed that? Is he officially a headliner? What do you think?
I definitely think Little Baby is in a different situation.
What do you
Uh
think?
in that I think the thing about Denzel Curry and Jin is that they are they are creatively like the kind of people I want to be headliners. And historically the people who do become them. But I think Little Baby is just so much more popular.
Okay.
And I like Little Baby a lot, but I don't think he's as creatively successful as Jid or Denzel Curry. But I just think he's in a completely different situation where like he is outperforming them as a touring artist, but below them creatively. Not that he's bad. I just don't think he's the tippity top tier.
Mhm. Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I follow because I was thinking about this myself, and that's why I wanted to throw it on the dock. Like, I, I feel like there's two different lanes, and I'm so glad that we had the Belly and Nav comparison because I feel like Little Baby compares to Nav, whereas like a Denzel Curry or Jid would compare it to Belly because just like creatively, obviously, I would take Jid 10 times out of 10 compared to Little Baby. But I feel like what Little Baby brings to the industry and what he has to successfully do in comparison to Jid, I don't want to say it's easier, but it's
No,
more
it's not easier.
consumable.
Like there's certainly something to be said about him
Right.
like
Like
being
he's
able to
still very
cultivate
talented.
that audience. And like the other thing is that even though I'm saying right now that I don't think Little Baby his creative output is worthy of his success per se. Uh that's kind of harsh. I don't mean that. But like
Because
I,
Little Baby is talented. He's a
yeah, but he
good
is a
lyricist. He
talented
has
too. Like
dope
he is
bars.
good. Like he is not someone who like I'm trying to think of an example of someone I would happily clown on, but I'm struggling.
The
Uh
baby, I guess.
yeah. And like also someone more popular than Nav. Uh
Yes.
so like I get it. Like I'm completely there. It's just I don't know. I think the reason why he's as popular as he is because he wrote in on Young Thug, whereas I think Jid definitely, even though he has the cosign, I think he hasn't gotten the big push that Little Baby has.
Okay. I can see that, honestly. I think that another thing, at least in terms of the concert aspect that I was thinking about, some songs just do better live. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the new albums for Denzel. I love the new album for Jid. But like in terms of consumption that we were talking about, it kind of just sounds better through headphones because you get that full finished product that may not be the same in person. I feel like because
Yeah,
even when I heard "Stick" when we went to go see J Cole, like it's a good song and like it's a hype song, but I feel like through headphones it just kind of hit a little bit different because I can understand the words better. The
yeah.
chorus was hype, but like I couldn't understand what he was really saying.
That's interesting because, like, while I totally agree that that phenomenon happens, and when I saw Denzel Curry this year, like, that's kind of like what I would say happens for sure.
Mm,
But that example I think is the exact opposite, where it's like, there's a trade off where there's a chance that just by way of like where the speakers are, and no matter what you put into it, it's just going to like fall short of the pre-recorded mastered version, right?
right.
But I also think that there's a chance that it could supersede it.
Hmm.
I think about like when Cole does No Role Models and like everyone in the audience is singing that like along with you.
Everyone's losing their mind.
It's
Yeah,
impossible to recreate that.
right. You're looking at the skyline of the city. I
Yeah,
totally
it's impossible to recreate that. So like there's something to it, I think.
Mm,
That I think there's an X factor that just is hard to quantify.
okay.
Uh, Now, do we want to talk about the funny thing?
This is all you, bro. I'm personally, I won't say against it, but like,
What do you
I
mean
don't.
against it? I feel like this is a meme. I feel like
Oh yeah, it's a meme, and I feel like it's
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 like if I
kind of
sent you.
dumb.
It's like if I sent you like some of the memes I've sent you today, and you were like, "I don't know if I agree with this," and I'm like, laughing. Like it's the Irish. Like
Okay. We have Meek Mill has tweeted that anyone getting married in October should hit him up because he wants to do a 10-year anniversary performance to Dreams and Nightmares at their wedding. Obviously, it's Meek Mill memeing on Twitter,
yeah,
but like, this is so dumb, Brandon. This is so stupid. This is so stupid to me.
yeah, no.
There's no chance in the world I would sacrifice my one wedding day for Meek Mill to come and perform his 10-year-old album
I definitely
and then
would if I
broadcast it to the
wanted.
world.
I definitely would if I wanted to burn every bridge I've ever had. Like if I wanted my father and my future father-in-law to hate me, that's what I would do is have Meek Mill do Dreams and Nightmares at my wedding.
Like, you just imagine in the middle.
It just doesn't sound fun to me.
Look, whoever does it, because there's going to be somebody, you know this. There's going to be more than one person that wants to do this. Whoever does this, God bless them. I am judging them internally, but
I'm judging them
there's no
externally.
chance.
You're weird.
There's
Yes.
no chance.
Yeah. And also, Meek Mill, I think he just wants free drinks. Like,
Because like this can't be a publicity or like advertising marketing stunt. Like, come on.
no, it has a certain shittiness that like only like
There's so many memes of him like falling downstairs doing random flips, crashing on a motorcycle. Like, what does this man do on a day-to-day life where this is something that he wants to offer?
I don't know, man. It's hard. Uh,
But yeah, anyway.
should we
I'm
segue into
going
our main topic with the final piece of news?
yes, the final piece of news. Very, very sad news, but over the past week, we have passed the 4-year mark of Mac Miller's death. Um, it does not feel like it's been 4 years, bro. It really hasn't.
Does it feel longer or shorter to you?
Kind of feels shorter to me, and maybe it's because like COVID happened, but
Mm.
I feel like he didn't die that long ago, and it's just so sad. Where like someone like Mac Miller was such a big influence to the culture, to the world. where like his presence is obviously missed, and it's weird thinking that like we're not gonna get another Mac Miller project. And obviously, I don't want anything to be forced. I don't want his like music that he had locked up in the vault just to be released for no reason. But
Yeah,
obviously, I would want like a meaningful album from him that we're just
yeah,
not really gonna get. And
yeah.
I
I
feel
mean,
like
it's the catch-22 of this kind of thing, right?
right,
So that's the topic for this week, and it's something that is kind of a little bit more serious because we're dealing with ethics now.
yes, morals,
Yeah,
ethics,
I
something.
don't think this is going to be a particularly deep dive into this stuff. I'm not going to be
No,
pulling up a state law, but we're talking about what happens in the unfortunate reality that musicians pass away.
exactly. I think it's a very interesting part of the industry that like a lot of people honestly don't talk about. The life after death impact of an artist, because not every artist you can actually do this for. And not every artist actually does this because they just don't rather have a fan base, or the estate doesn't think it's appropriate. The label they were signed to might have legal reasons or whatever it might be. But we have recent people. I just want to list some in honor of them. We have King Von, Young Dolph, Pop Smoke, Nipsey Hussle, XXXTentacion, DMX, Juice World, Mac Miller, all legends in their own sense, in my opinion, that has passed in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
And it's just some of the examples that we've had throughout history. We have just large names rather than rap, pop culture, R&B, rock and roll, where you kind of face this weird dilemma of, do we continue to release music in honor of them, or do we not release anything to kind of save face or respect
yeah,
their
out of respect for their
music?
legacy.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the reason why this is so complicated but also so interesting is because it changes. It's not always the same.
Hmm.
You know, so like we're jumping off of Mac Miller. I think it's fair to say that like with Circles, the posthumous Mac Miller album, that was supposed to see the light of day.
100%.
You know, that wasn't stuff in the vault that was locked away. This was something that like was actively being worked on. The previous album was like, you know, an extension of this.
Yeah, I was going to say they're like sister albums, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
they're
swimming
supposed to
in
be
circles.
swimming in circles, yeah. And at that point, how can you look at that honestly and come to any other conclusion than it is imperative to release that album
Mm.
for people to have heard this? You know, that is clear. Like it is obvious that that's what Mac Miller would have wanted in that case, right?
Oh, yeah. I agree. Completely agree with that. Because there are and I was trying to do some research here of some of like the better ones and like the meaning behind it. But there are quite a list of albums that has came out post the artist's death that were intended to come out. And I feel like in those situations, they are more on the side of respecting the artist and their wants. But then it comes to a situation, kind of like a fine line, where at one point, are you respecting the artist? And at one point, is this almost like a profit grab? Because on the opposite side,
It certainly
we have
happens.
exactly, we have infamously the XXXTentacion label,
Yeah,
where,
it genuinely feels like pretty much everything since he's passed has just been chasing that brand. Has just been,
oh, yeah,
you know, I don't think there's been any meaning, you know, and I'm sure that there will be people uh, debating that, but I don't think there's been any meaningful releases since XXX died.
I mean, and I'm taking a look into it now. So XXX died in 2018.
Yeah,
Since 2018, he has had, let's see, one, two, three, four, I want to say 4 or 5 albums that were released. I think that's insane. I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah, it is
Um,
clearly an effort to mine the memory of that person
do you,
and
do you
just
think
for
this is a
money.
cash trap or what?
It's 100% a cash grab. But like that's the name of the game, dude. Like when you have like that's just the I, I think what's important for people to understand is that shit like that is the logical conclusion to the over commodification of music.
Hmm.
You know, when you have shit that's like valuable, like what does I don't know, like Atlantic, like what does the memory of XXX Tentacion matter to Atlantic Records? You know, and also I don't know if this is a factor, but like I think there's something to be said about the fact that XXX did not leave a good memory. Like,
No,
I know that
he
there
did
are a
not.
lot of people who, because they were so young, are able to look past like who he was as a person and were affected by him as an artist. But that doesn't change like what that dude did like when he was on Earth. Like
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but there's probably some people who are kind of relieved about the situation. Uh,
it's very true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have an artist like that, someone who is probably a bigger liability, alive, uh, the it becomes no question on if you're going to defame that person's legacy in the pursuit of money, because why wouldn't you? His legacy sucks.
Yeah, I guess.
But
And
then,
that's
but like that doesn't make it okay though, in my
correct.
opinion,
Yes.
right? Because like I don't think music should be so commodified, and I don't think XXX is a good dude. I've made my opinions very clear about that. I still don't think that this is okay. I still think it's
Yeah,
being exploitative of a person who can no longer like advocate for themselves.
yes, I do agree with that. And I think the important part of this, unfortunately, just like everything else, the industry in the world kind of revolves around money. And like you said, as things become more accessible, more normalized, just to be put out for the public, I think we kind of lose sight on the ethics and morals behind it. Him and specifically, we have 4 or 5 albums. And then another huge one that's also like a brand to the extent is Juice World.
Juice World,
Juice
yeah,
World,
for
we
sure.
have 2 albums, I'm pretty sure, that
Now,
has came out.
Juice World, and I also think this is true of Pop Smoke. I think it actually might be a little bit more true for Pop Smoke. But what
Hmm.
I think is interesting is that Juice World shows like how time passing can change that question, can change the answer to like, is it appropriate to like release this music posthumously?
Okay.
Because I think about Legends Never Die, that first one that came out, and
Mhm.
very similar to the first posthumous Pop Smoke album, it was like mostly finished, and it would have seemed pretty bad. It seemed very reasonable to want to put that album out, right? Especially like because like the labels always gonna want to put it out, but like in terms of like respecting their memory,
Mhm.
you know. But as it went on, as it went years and years and years, and you're still seeing like Juice World features and shit like that, you know. I
Like stuff that never even was meant to be released.
Yeah. Now, like what I do think is somewhat okay is like, do you remember the song "I Miss You Too" off Certified Lover Boy?
Hmm.
How like they open with like him, like his voice, and it's like in his memory.
Hmm.
I think that's one thing, but I think these unused artistic verses, I just I gotta say, like I don't think it is that appropriate. I think
I
it's
mean, we got one, literally this example, we got one a week or two ago.
yeah. And who was it again?
Uh,
It was DJ
DJ
Khaled,
Khaled.
right?
Yeah, we have an entire song. Now, to be fair, I'm not entirely sure. This could have been a leaked song. I'm pretty sure it was leaked and it was already kind of out there. on SoundCloud or something like that, and it was cleaned up, perfected, tuned up, and released. But even still, it kind of jumps into the next like section of this that I was talking about. It's one thing to put out an entire album underneath an artist's name,
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into it, if it's good or bad, if it's out of respect for the artist, if it's out of respect for the fans, if it's out of profit or not. But now you kind of get into the section of like, these aren't even albums. You're starting to sell
Versus.
lyrics. You're starting to sell verses, like things that were leaked. I don't know how we could put any kind of
No.
positive outlook behind it, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't think we can.
Like, and I remember, and this wasn't even that recent. Drake put out the song featuring Michael
I
Jackson,
was literally just thinking about that. Yeah, because like, how crazy was that?
and like literally when it came out, like I don't know anybody that was like, I won't say happy, but it was almost questionable.
Yeah, like I
It was
those
like, why is this here?
I like that song, but it's like, yeah, like I was not like, oh shit, he has Michael Jackson. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right, like why is Michael Jackson featured
Yeah,
on a song where it's so blatantly clear and understanding? We've talked about Drake being a brand in general,
yeah,
so
Eh,
there's going to be a lot of wrong ethics there.
just because like Drake is a engine for commerce, he's not really an artist at a certain point.
Right.
Um,
And so it
but
kind of makes you think what's going on.
well, I think that's actually a good example of something that kind of gets at a gray area between like this whole thing,
Okay.
because I think in that example you could definitely point out that there's a prestige element to it. Drake wants to be able to say he has a song that has Michael Jackson, one of the most legendary artists of all time, on it, right? So even if it's n- not necessarily like financially driven, it's still driven by ego and like a selfish desire to do the best for oneself.
Hmm.
And I do think that's another thing that we need to be able to keep in check, and sometimes it can be hard, right? To be able to tell artists that like, hey, even if you think you're doing something respectful, it's kind of odd. Like I think about the Pop Smoke song on Donda. And it's like, hey man, like I get that you don't think of this as offensive, and like that's fine. It is certainly not as bad as like all the XXX records that came out. But, we gotta be able to call people on that.
So I guess as a community then, because it you kind of got to what I was looking into when I was thinking about this subject in general, because this is one that we've had in the archives for a while. There are certain situations where it might actually be for the fans.
Yeah,
And
even if it's not in the best interest of the memory of the artist.
right.
Like that's what makes it so complicated, is that like there are clearly examples of like where it's motivated by like a legacy thing for the artist. And there are clearly examples where it's just the label cashing in on that name recognition. But there's a
Hmm.
lot of real questionable shit in the middle too.
Right. Because it's easy to look at, and I think it comes down to honestly just the size or the impact of the artists themselves. Like obviously, Tupac, you're gonna have an album that comes out after his death.
Yeah,
Biggie, you're gonna have it. Michael Jackson, you're gonna have it. Like, and
yeah,
that's going to continue to happen.
yeah,
But there's certain people that like you just don't need to,
yeah.
and it's not even a matter of should or shouldn't. It's just it's not necessary. I feel like.
Couldn't agree more. Like, is there any need for Kid Cudi to have a song with Pop Smoke? Like,
No, and you can creatively express yourself in other instances, or you can even, if it's a matter of respecting the artist, or like always wanted to work with this artist, there's other things you can do to express your respect towards someone. I feel
yeah,
like.
and like, because I love talking about this song, it's one of my favorite songs. Like, I think about Mortal Man
Hmm.
and how that entire album builds to that, you know, that recreation of the conversation with Tupac.
Hmm.
And I don't remember a single person, because it isn't, calling that disrespectful.
Right.
And the other thing is that, once again, it's not music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not something that they created before dying in a sense of putting out in a music kind of area. It was more of a creative expression where you're more giving honor to that person. Um, and I feel like even in that sense, there's very select people.
Who could pull it
I don't
off?
feel like exactly. I don't feel like in the example you just gave, there's no reason for Pop Smoke to have a song with Kid Cudi. I don't know if they've even been in the studio together. I don't know if they even had a conversation.
Yeah,
So it kind of makes you
exactly.
think, what's the point
And
of
like,
that?
I don't hate that song, like,
No, no.
creatively, but like, like, yeah, like, why does this even exist?
There's certain things you need to give up in respects and honor
You
of
know.
just what's right.
And another
Well,
thing, and this might be controversial a bit, uh, I think it's perfectly reasonable to be like, let's say he had recorded that song with Pop Smoke before it it dropped. Like, maybe it's okay to just be like, do you have to have a song with a dead artist on your album? You know,
yeah, I guess it's true.
like, I think then you can brush up against, like, well, this is what the artist wanted, and it's like, okay,
I was gonna
but
say that would be my one pass if they legitimately, and not just in that example, but I feel like if you've legitimately worked with an artist before they passed away, and you all discuss work on this together, that I think that is one green light I would give
yeah,
you.
I think I was tripping a little bit now that I think about it. Now that you said my point back to me, like,
I feel like that's the one green light where I'm like, okay, you guys already established this, like, and this was most likely meant to come out in some sense or another. Um, I guess then I should ask then, and you can take it any direction that you want. Do you have any examples of a good estate, good album, or bad estate, bad album that you kind of want to like discuss over?
I mean, I think the best example in modern memory was is Mac Miller.
Yeah, I was gonna say circles. That was definitely
I
gonna be
think
one of
that's
mine.
the best one. We didn't bring him up earlier, but Little Peep, I think he's another example of one where it was like there was an album that came out directly after he passed,
Hmm.
and it was supposed to be a part one,
What do you mean
and
a part one? Like
it
two
was called
parts?
"Come Over When You're Sober" Part One.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a two-part album, and he died. I think it was after the first one was done,
Hmm.
and but before it came out or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but then I think Peep is like the best example of, like, okay, like, this happened, and then he blew up because of it, and I guess this is an example of a bad one. Uh, and it
No,
just
I mean
seems
whatever
like,
Dutch.
yeah, it seems like, because I have very complicated feelings about Little Peep. Uh,
I have no feelings about Little Peep, so this is all you.
just like, coming from rock and emo, I think he was doing things that could be cool, but like, I don't think he quite pulled it off.
Okay.
Think of like Don Tolliver, but worse.
Interesting.
Yeah, like,
I, I
I think he
did not know
had,
that.
think of it this way. Like, I think he had like almost all the potential of someone like a Don Tolliver, but Don Tolliver just has gotten farther.
Okay.
Has fulfilled more of that potential. That's exactly how I feel about Little Peep.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have to check out Little Peep. I honestly,
I
I
don't know
did
if you,
not know.
I'll be honest, I don't know if you would like it. I don't even know if you call the music hip hop.
Fair.
There's
Okay.
certainly times when he's rapping, but like, it's like a weird combination of rock and hip hop. But I think like that's
And
cool.
Astrodon.
I think like as
Hmm.
a sound, like that's cool. Uh, and also, I don't think you'll like it because I have a feeling you're probably going to get more into more direct forms of rock.
Okay. I mean,
And
I completely get that. You're
yeah,
not wrong.
I definitely think for someone who's like, not to spoil next week's episode, but as someone who wants to put in at least some effort into getting into like rock music, I
Hmm.
don't think it's a great place to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I would say then, kind of going off of that, I'll give my bad first instead of my good. Since
Yeah.
you gave a bad, I'm gonna play off with Little Peep. I have a bad estate that, and it's interesting that you brought up how you discussed that he blew up almost after his death. And I was thinking about this for a while, and I've brought it up before in the podcast. I feel like you and I are fairly integrated into this culture to the sense that we even decided to make a podcast about this. So this is all we talk about.
Yeah.
Prior to Nipsey Hussle's death, I didn't mention his name once, and I know I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm 90% sure I never heard you mention him.
No,
So
I
I
was
feel like,
not. I was aware of Nipsey Hussle, but I was not what you would call a fan. I'm completely aware of who he was.
and I feel like that's something to say considering how like involved we in and how much we follow just news in general. I feel like the estate of Nipsey Hussle completely fell in terms of promoting him in a natural sense because I feel like he already had a good image behind him. A lot of people supported him and knew of him and spoke well about him post his death. But I feel like Nipsey Hussle, in terms of popularity or just mentioning his name in general, like grew 4 or 5 times just because of his death.
Yeah. No.
And I feel
No.
like this would be someone that you can go, okay, let's release some of his music. And it didn't happen. So I feel like it's a bad estate because they dropped the ball in that sense. Because I feel like he definitely would have had enough music in the vault that was good enough to be released for people to actually go, this is who he was in a positive sense.
Well, I definitely think Nipsey Hussle had an entire career. I understand that neither one of us were huge fans of him, like while he was on Earth,
Hmm.
but he definitely had an established career.
Okay.
Um, and I think I have a different perspective on the way his estate was handled. Uh, because I actually do think a good comparison is Little Peep, and it's because he did get way more popular in the mainstream consciousness post because of his death. Nipsey. And I don't know, maybe because it's just not as much as Peep or X, but I feel like a lot of the songs that have come out with Nipsey have been pretty reverential, pretty good, and it hasn't been like whole albums, at least as far as I know.
Okay. I mean, and I'm taking a look into it now, and this is all on me because I was lacking. He did have a full career.
Yeah,
You're not wrong. He had a
but
full
I
career.
definitely think it's fair to say that he, uh, like he wasn't in the mainstream consciousness in the way he was uh, until after he passed.
Right.
Yeah,
So maybe not an album, but I feel like there should have been some form of promoting, advertising, or something in a sense to get his name's on the map now.
yeah,
And so why not take advantage of this opportunity to be like, you know what? Let's turn your 3 million listeners that's on Spotify right now into 30 million because it could have happened.
yeah. I
Um, but
yeah.
that it was just an idea by all means.
No, that's totally
I don't
okay.
think
I
it's
mean, like,
right or wrong.
yeah, no, you're entitled to your opinion.
I think one that was actually a really good estate that we haven't mentioned, and obviously it did come off or come out, I think, 16 days after his death or his murder, I should say. But I think the album Life After Death by Notorious Big is infamous and
Yeah,
amazing
yeah,
and one of the best albums out there just in general.
yeah,
And I feel like that was one that was meant to come out, and that is one of the classics.
yeah. Now, hmm, this is an interesting one
Okay.
because it is a slight pivot.
All
But
right, let's hear it.
my question is, what do you think about like groups that lose members?
Ooh,
Because, like, for
okay.
example, you had Grogs, uh, from Injury Reserve. He passed before the last album. Now, from what they say, that they say the album was complete before he died.
Hmm.
So that does, changes it a bit. But,
Right.
that is, I think that my question is like, what do you think about like Tribe Called Quest, who release albums after the death of Fife Dog?
It's
Obviously, like they're allowed
interesting.
to keep doing that, but it's another interesting thing because some of these people they belong to groups that keep on going after their death.
I guess I'm curious in terms of the question, were you referring more to these songs that they're releasing that continues to have the lyrics of the person that dies, or just like the group existing still?
I guess I'm kind of asking about the second one because I think obviously because like when you're in a group with people, they know you, they know your intentions. So I just assume Injury Reserve has Grog's best intention, like interest at heart.
I think for groups, personally, I think 9 out of 10, I will give them a green light because I feel like in most cases where you lose a member of the group, it shifts the dynamic of the group just naturally. Where it's enough where the new albums that they're putting out just aren't even in a sense the same. And I think the best example of that, even though it didn't die, would be Brockhampton, where just naturally the entire sound of their projects changed
Yeah,
after the trilogy. I
yeah,
think that's just one example,
yeah.
but
Well, I guess this is a perfect example, like a perfect pivot point. Is just like, what do you think is like? How do you think hip hop groups should deal like when they lose a member? Do they continue? Do they not? But like, how do they do it? And I guess at this point we're
especially
getting a little bit more into like the creativity and less into like the
the moral
financial
aspect.
ethics. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm pretty much on board with it. At least as initially when I'm thinking about it, I like I said, 9 times out of 10, I'm giving that green light because the group sometimes can form into just a whole different entity. To be honest, just losing one member can change the dynamic, change the focus, change the message, change the themes. That there's so much that can naturally come out of it that I feel like if one member has passed, I don't think it's worth killing it completely. I think it will be more disrespectful not to continue than a push forward. And with that being said, in terms of what the group should do, I think they should just keep pushing forward. Acknowledge the fact because it'll be rude not to like pay attention as though it didn't happen, but like acknowledge things happen in life. Like things change, people come, people go, and like we need to continue the process and express our pain or whatever it might be in new ways. So I'm fully on board with the group continue going personally.
I'm I think you said that quite beautifully. I mean, obviously like you would assume that creative people, that's how they mourn, is they create.
Right. But
Um
it's a paper.
yeah. But it's a rough thing to get through,
It is.
because you
It's
know
like family at that point.
at that point it's like family, and I just kind of wanted to personalize this conversation a little bit because even though the conversation is about the ethics,
Hmm.
it just sometimes it can come across, not like this specific conversation, but sometimes when the people talk about this, it can come across a little depersonalized.
Hmm.
Like people forget that like Fife Dog had a family, Krogs had a daughter. Like
Hmm.
these are
Right.
people. You know,
They're real people. Absolutely.
and I think that is like going forward. Like I think I want the not necessarily the community, but fans writ large to just understand that. Like the people who are making this music for you, they're human beings, man. They feel pain and everything.
Hmm.
And I think artists should look at themselves and be like, hey, even if do I still want to profit off of this person's death? Even if like it's you know sound.
Put it to a foundation or something. Donate it.
Yeah,
Something
exactly.
good, you know?
And like, look, I definitely think there are examples where it can be done very tastefully.
Hmm.
Um, and also, like, once again, like, if it was something that was meant to see the light of day, I think a good rule of thumb is that it should.
Yep.
But I definitely think I don't feel confident that this is something that's going to get better.
No.
And it's not. It's something that bothers me, and it's like we had King Von die this year. Like we covered it on the show, and
Hmm.
like I think because he kind of existed in the Chicago drill scene, I don't think he's going to be overly commercialized because that's like a very niche subgenre.
Right.
But still, like I think like there's a combination effect of like we lionize the people who pass, and then because of that, that makes their music more valuable.
Hmm.
You know, and I think the thing that we can't stop doing is we can't stop that lionization. That's a process of grief.
Yep.
Obviously you can call out an individual person if they're being gross about it, but it's a thing that's going to be as natural as the flowing of rivers.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, take King Vaughn. Like,
Hmm.
I've lived in the city my whole life. I've followed that drill music thing. I've heard of King Vaughn, but never really as much as I have since he's passed.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that effect, where like the people on the ground, like the actual people who are listening to the music, and they see that someone that they listen to has passed, and they start to build that person up as a legend. That process is part of the grieving process. It seems
Hmm.
inappropriate to uh like tell people not to do that, but it is undeniably the thing that incentivizes the labels or shiesty partners to disrespect these people's memories by releasing stuff that's just never meant to see the light of day.
Hmm.
And I think that's really all I have to say on the matter.
No, yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
Ugh. Ugh. Wow. Yeah, definitely an important topic. Definitely something we've been wanting to cover. Just, I think more to just get our opinions on the record.
Hmm.
Just because, like,
Yeah.
especially with things like the opioid crisis and gun violence in this country,
We
like,
losing people daily.
yeah, and
Like
it's kind of
literally
crazy.
daily.
Like when you look, I right now have like a list of like all the rappers who have died while making music, like since like the '70s,
Hmm.
and like it explodes exponentially, and like it includes people like Big Pun who like died of a heart attack. So it's a
I didn't even
pretty
think about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a completely like and that's another thing, and we're not experts, so we're not going to belabor this point, but like a, I don't think it's a coincidence that most of these rappers are dying of gunshots or overdoses.
Yes. About to say it's normally underneath those categories.
Ugh. All right.
Hopefully.
Purvis, seeing as you wanted to do the depressing episode, you start off the recommendations.
Lovely. Okay. Let me pull my recommendations real quick. Um, let's see, let's see. Took some screenshots. I've been trying to keep track of what I got here. Okay, I'm gonna open it up with the first song by Giveon, believe it or not. Um, I randomly was having my music on shuffle until my R&B music, and the song "Garden Kisses" came up by Giveon. Man, that dude is really good. Like he's continuing to impress me, and he's getting better. I feel like every year.
I gotta
Um,
do the deep dive. I know it's a catchphrase at this point,
bro,
but I've heard
you
plenty
are
of his
missing
music.
out.
Yeah,
I
I
promise
gotta
you.
I gotta listen. I gotta listen.
All right, what do you have for me?
Okay, so my first one, I decided to do three big crit songs. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
Say Jesus, bro.
but a song served to me on shuffle, and I was like, God damn, because it features one of our favorites, Jermaine Cole, and it's
Oh,
Proven by Big Crit featuring J Cole. And the reason
ooh,
I'm
okay.
recommending it is just because I really think this is probably one of J Cole's best verses of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I really think it is.
Okay. I'm like gonna listen to this as soon as we're finished.
Yeah, it is. And remember, okay, so I sent Purvis a hot take saying that like one of the reasons Cole is as good as he is because for some reason he can just have a conceit or a bar that's kind of corny, and it doesn't come across that way. Uh I think about the folding clothes song.
Okay, I get the phone calls,
This
but
one,
like
like the conceit of it, like the thing he's talking about, it very easily could have come across corny, but it absolutely does not. It comes across as extremely touching. And I kind of don't want to spoil it. Like,
you said it's called Proven, right?
prove it.
Oh, Prove
Prove
It.
it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
prove it. It's off this album Crit Was Here, which is not good. Like, this is the only song you need to listen to off the album. Like,
Okay, I'm saving Prove It right now. It's interesting that you brought that up to me because, like, instantly I was like, "What are you talking about, bro? It's not corny." But then you said like it's the fact that you don't really think about it.
yeah.
Like it comes off as hard, so you don't really think of like, "Oh, this could be corny." But like, I don't know. I feel like his music isn't corny.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's not so much his music, it's just some of the bars, especially like
Mm,
older, like anything before 2014 Forest Hill Drive. Like he had a lot of poop and fart jokes.
okay, I guess. Um, then I'll jump into the second one real quick. I found a new artist called Junia T, I want to say. They
Ooh.
have a song called Ooh Wee that is another R&B banger. Um, I'm not gonna say this is something you play when you have sex, but it might be something you play when you have sex. It's a
Oh
good song.
Lord. Oh Lord, getting a
Really good
shiesty up
song.
in here.
But highly recommend that song. Just found it. It features somebody called Elijah Dex, who I just found out about as well. Great, great music.
Wow. Ugh. All right. Me next?
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna recommend the song "Pose" by the remix with Yo Gotti, Little Uzi Vert, and Megan The Stallion. Just hits really hard. Served up to me on random. The beat is it could blow out some windows. It's just really good. It's just
Okay.
really good.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and also like I appreciate that. uh Megan The Stallion goes real hard on the song, but I
Mm.
appreciate that Little Uzi Vert does not get shown up.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
he
it's hard to show up Lil Uzi Vert.
uh,
He's good. In my
it's
opinion, he's good.
oh I agree. I agree that he's very good. I am firmly pro Little Uzi Vert. I just think Megan is kind of a showstopper.
She is. She is.
Yeah, especially on a song like this.
Question: have you listened to the album? Because I haven't. I'm not gonna lie, I have not.
Which album?
Megan's new album.
Oh, I've heard a few songs off of it in the car with Rachel, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
probably
stop
listened
holding
to
up.
like half of it.
Is it a concept album?
I don't
This is
think
what we
so.
wanted.
I think
All
it's
right,
I think it sounds like it's like a Sonic concept album.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It's kind of like more of an old school concept album where it's not so direct. And this is gonna be the tease for the tease.
The tease for the tease.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Last
what I
one.
would, yeah, my last one in honor of 2K coming out tonight. I did a 2K classic. I did the song Three Vets by the Future Kings, based out of Chicago. Um, I'm hyped, man. I'm so ready for 2K. It's not even funny, and this is one of the best songs on 2K. Oh,
Wow.
one of the previous years. So I'm full on the ride. If I disappear for a week, you know where I'm at.
Well, be here for the show, goddammit. Like
I will show up for the show.
yeah. All right. Purvis, for my last recommendation, I'm gonna do something we've never done before.
All right,
I'm
let's
gonna
hear it.
give a runner up. Because what I
Okay.
really wanted to do this week was recommend a song by Metallica to tease the show we have next week. where Purvis
Okay.
has listened to a Metallica album, gonna listen to it a few more times, and we're gonna do a deep dive. I'm very
A few
excited
more
about it.
times. It's
Yeah.
going to be quite quite an experience.
Yeah. So I wanted to recommend "Thing That Should Not Be" by Metallica. It's a song I've been listening to a lot. It's excellent. Great single song to listen to if you're a listener of this podcast and you don't know where to start with like older heavy metal, right?
Yeah.
But then I remembered like what this was about, like what these recommendations are about, and it's like what's the shit that we're actually listening to.
Mhm.
And I've been it's TV season at the agency, so we've been pitching TV scripts. And I've been at the office every night until well after dark, coming home, taking the bus on Lakeshore Drive.
And
And
this has been
I just had to shout out the night shift, so I'm recommending Frank Ocean Nights. I just couldn't not do it.
oh man.
I just couldn't not do it. I've been on Lakeshore Drive every night. Like,
I'm gonna say this, bro. How did you expect to go 30 episodes without doing a Frank Ocean
no.
tribute? Like I am so proud of us. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
This is our 30th episode.
Yeah, 30th
and we have
episode.
not
Recommended Frank
done a
Ocean.
Frank
Yeah.
Ocean episode.
And I just had to do it. Like listen, it's about working the night shift. I think that's an underrated aspect of the song. Because there's someone
it could literally be this or pyramids now that you said working the night shift.
Yeah, that's just, I think Pyramids is more about being a stripper. Like whereas Nights is just generically about working at night.
just nights in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good way to tie it all up.
I couldn't resist.
Look, I'm not mad at you in the slightest. That is literally no. We've done Moon River. That is the second Frank Ocean recommendation we've had.
And Moon River's a cover.
Fair. I did a Frank Ocean feature.
Yeah. And we've recommended other covers. I've recommended a few covers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've recommended Where Do You Sleep Last Night and Dirty Diana.
I was about to say literally last week.
Yeah.
All right, well,
this was another episode. Like and subscribe. Fuck,
I was literally gonna say, yeah. Don't forget.
Like and subscribe. We're gonna start building out the show a little bit more.
Oh yes, you see
intros and whatnot. Big things coming. So stay tuned. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere.
Literally.
Can't get rid of the unpaid nobodies. We're like cockroaches.
All right, please don't compare us to cockroaches.
Okay, we are like rats.
All right, that's not better.